What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one and only Ash Brown, and this is the ashsaiditshow. Over 1,900 episodes since 2014, 500,000 streams all around the world. Thank you guys for all of your love, all of your support. It makes a huge difference. Because you guys love on me so much, I get to find amazing, talented people, much like our author today, the wonderful Deirdre Gartner. Hey, Deirdre.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on your show.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. As we were gushing before we got onto the program about New York and our love affair with New York. Who doesn't love New York? I don't trust anybody. They don't love New York.
Exactly. Oh, it's the greatest city in the world.
It is a city that never sleeps. If you can survive in New York, you can literally survive anywhere. So.
Definitely. Definitely.
So your book is out, Dearest New York, a love letter to the Big Apple. Where did your inspiration come from to write this book?
So I am a native New Yorker, born and raised in Queens, but trust from the time I was a little girl, my parents would I had 9 siblings, and they would take all of us all over Manhattan to whatever event, whether it was the ballet or a, food festival or some kind of opening at an art museum. So from a really young age, I was just exposed to so much and just really really developed a love for Manhattan and the city. And when I started working, I was in the fashion industry for many years and traveled all over the world. And no matter what beautiful city I was in, when I would come home through the Midtown Tunnel and I would hear the cars honking and screaming at each other and the smells of New York, I thought, yes, I am home. And through the years, people have always asked me, I'm coming into New York. Can you put together an itinerary for me? Or friends that live locally said, I heard that there's this great exhibit. Do you know a restaurant near the museum where we could go eat? Mm-hmm. So I started writing itineraries for people. And then I started, when Instagram came out, I started photographing all throughout New York and just writing little stories about, a new exhibit that opened or a really beautiful cafe that I saw, or it was kind of I became a visual storyteller of New York. And I kind of put everything together, and in the back of my mind, I thought this would be really cool one day to write a book about New York. So when the pandemic came, everything was shut down. Yeah. And as the city started recovering and these incredible stories of the resiliency of the city and of its people, I thought, now's the time, because New York is coming back and it's going to come back stronger than ever. Yeah. So I put together a proposal and I sent it off to a couple of publishing houses, and lo and behold, it turned into a book, to my surprise. But it's my love letter to this city that I just think is so filled with, it's quirky and it's messy and it's magical. And there's so much vibrancy. No matter where you walk or no matter what you do, there's always something to see, something beautiful and something amazing. So I wrote the book and I divided it into all these different neighborhoods that I love and I wander around every day. And so that's where it started. And I am thrilled to actually see it, to open up the book and see my photographs that I took a couple of years ago that I actually forgot about. And, little things in I go through the flower district and I know all the tabby cats that live there. And I walk down Waverly Street and there's an old lady that sits in the window and she and I always wave to each other. So it's filled with these kind of New York little stories.
Yes. I love that. All right. Let's talk about the top 5 fall must in New York.
The top 5? Yes. You're going to make me edit it down to 5? I mean, there is nothing like New York from September to December 31st. I mean, that is when the city is at its most glorious and beautiful, and when the leaves change. So I'd say the number one thing, top 5, is a long stroll in Central Park. Because no matter when you see the leaves change, and no matter where and how many times you've been in the park, there's always something amazing to see, especially in the fall, early morning or late afternoon as the sun starts setting, to stand at the top of Cherry Hill and look down at the boats, because the rowboats are actually still available till probably late October, to take a picnic in the park, to walk around Bethesda Terrace where so many movies have been filmed. So I think I would start, the number one, I would say just take a walk through Central Park is amazing. And then another really fun thing I love to do is to go to the Union Square Farmers Market, because in the fall it's where they had the end of the summer produce, but then you see tons of beautiful gourds and all kinds of colorful mums and apples and these amazingly huge, ginormous pumpkins and hay stalks. So you almost feel, even though it's in Union Square in the middle of Manhattan, you feel like you're somewhere in the North Fork of Long Island. It's, you feel a million miles away, and there's so much vibrancy, people buying and either pumpkins and taking them home. And so that's definitely one of my favorite things. And then, of course, nobody decorates for Halloween like New Yorkers, whether you're on the East Side, the West Side, the West Village. So I would say to go on a tour, choose a neighborhood, and then walk up and down the streets, and you will see the most incredible Halloween decorations. I mean, people really, really go all out. And it usually starts October 1st. You can, like, even now, in the very beginning of October, people have already started. So you see the skeletons starting to appear, and the cobwebs, and the big pumpkins, and it's just so fun to see which neighborhood year by year outdoes each other. Last year I think I was like, nobody could have better decorations on the Upper West Side, and then you go to the Upper East Side and you're like, oh my gosh, it's incredible. So that's one thing. Not to be missed is the annual Village Halloween Parade, where ghouls and goblins and 50,000 people dressed as mummies and every possible thing you can imagine. Some people start planning Halloween's October 31st, November 1st. People start planning what their costume is going to be for the following year. I mean, it is a wild night of revelry in New York. So that's definitely a sight to be seen. Oh, wow. And then another really fun thing to do is there's this really cool it's called the Merchant's House Museum. And it's the home of the Treadwell family, and generations of this family lived there, and it's now known as the most haunted house in New York. And they give ghost tours at night. So you can imagine the floors creaking and it's dark in this old house. So that's really a fun thing to do. And on and on and on. I think those are my top 5 things that I like to do.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Now, I saw something that really caught my eye. I was like, I want to talk about some of those secret spots in Manhattan. Those things that are just hidden from plain sight.
One of the things that New Yorkers don't take a look at, and they see and go by it every single day, is the art in the subways. And there's some incredible art by very well-known artists in every type of medium. And the New York City has many, many of their stations filled with mosaics. Like the 28th Street subway station is right near the Flower District, and they had an artist come in and do these huge, beautiful floral mosaics in that subway station. And then there's on the Upper East Side, there is a station that has these big murals of all different kinds of New Yorkers doing different things. So you have the nurse going to work, and you have the chef carrying a bag filled with groceries that he's going to be using for the day. Or you have a father holding his little daughter's hand with a bunch of balloons. So I think if you go, just be aware when you're taking transportation, especially the subway. In New York, be on the lookout for these incredible pieces of art. Another favorite area of mine is hidden but in plain sight, which is the New York Flower District. And it's a small strip on 27th and 28th Street. It's about a block long on either side. But you get there early in the morning at 5:30 in the morning to 7:30, and it is alive with action. All these trucks coming in and out, delivering flowers from all over the world and potted plants. And you see all the floral designers come in and looking to see what they're going to buy, what events they're working on, color stories. It's really, really it's one of my favorite things to do early in the morning. And then just to go and buy flowers for yourself at much less than you would spend at a florist. And the quality is so fresh that they last so much longer.
Oh, I love that. Fresh flowers are always good. I mean, it just puts you in a good vibe. You're in a good mood.
Definitely. Don't we all deserve to treat ourselves?
Absolutely.
Whether it's us or not, everybody needs to treat yourself with fresh flowers.
This is true. I'm all for that. All right. What are the top 3 movies that you feel truly capture the essence of New York?
Well, definitely When Harry Met Sally.
Yes, I was going to say.
Which is so iconic.
Yes.
Then You've Got Mail is another great New York movie.
It is.
And the other one, I think, is Serendipity. Which, that scene when they're skating in Central Park in the winter is just so New York. So I would say those are my top. I mean, there's so many movies that are filmed here and so many television series, but I would say those are like the top 3 that really define and really show the beauty of the city.
Gotcha.
And then there's also shows like Sex and the City, which
that's a given. That's celebrated every episode.
So great in showing every part of Manhattan. And yeah, I would say those are my top 3.
Gotcha. Now, last but certainly not least, would you say that this book is pretty much for everybody, not just necessarily people that want and wish to go to New York, but do you think that also New Yorkers will absolutely appreciate this book?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's such a great gift book, and it's filled with beautiful illustrations. There are 3 native New York artists that worked on the illustrations, and they really did a beautiful homage to the city. It's tons of photographs and quotes from New Yorkers, little guides about where to go, my checklist of favorite things, events to do in, my favorite cafes and my favorite bookstores, and what everybody should do if they come to New York during the holiday season. So I think, and the book starts with a whole a true love letter to New York. So I think it's for anybody that has ever had, whether you're a native, you aspire to come to New York, you have been here and you have a memory about some, restaurant that you went to, or when you went to school here, or an apartment that you lived in. I think it's for anybody that has any kind of little bit of connection.
Gotcha. I love it. Deirdre, thank you so much for coming through today. We appreciate you.
Thank you. This was so fun. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. And let everyone know where they can get their copy of this awesome book.
Well, you can go right to Amazon. That's probably the easiest. And then it's going to be in a bunch of, it's going to be in Barnes & Noble. It's going to be in Target, a bunch of independent bookstores. So just if you Google Dearest New York, a love letter to the Big Apple, or Deirdre Gartner, you can see, it'll pull up where your local bookstore or any way that you can get it.
Yes. And how can people follow you on social media?
Oh, that would be great. Follow me on Instagram, Girl in the Yellow Taxi, NYC.
I love it. Deirdre, much more success to you and your whole team. I can't wait to see what the new year brings you. Now it's going to bring you some treats.
Yay!
Some good energy, good
stuff.
Yeah,
me too.
And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.